Batsy, haven't you heard the news? There's a splendid new podcast out called Life is Such. It's fantastic. It's got my three favourite idiots in. Will, Tom, and of course our favourite boy Callum. Give it a listen, Batsy. I'm sure you'll be dying to listen to it.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Life is Such podcast. I am Will, joined by these two twats, Callum and Tom. Say hello, boys.
Hello, boys.
Boys, hello.
Nonce.
Hey.
So, this week, what's been happening with you boys? Let's get straight into it. Anything interesting?
No,
Don't all speak at once. Don't all speak at once. Jesus. So Callum's just been going to work. Same old, same old.
Yeah.
Speaking of work, we did put something on our Instagram earlier this week. Tommy boy. Speaking of work, what have you got to tell everybody?
Well, yeah, started a new one. What was it, Monday?
What is
Fixing
this
Windows.
Job? Fixing
well,
Windows.
Basically, making Windows. It's pretty long. Fucking, I've got so many cuts on my hands. I had an interview on Friday though for this new one, which hopefully I'll get on here. Hopefully on Monday, if I've got it or not. Because yeah, I don't really want to stay at this place for too long because my thumb hurts.
Wow.
Hey,
you better hope you're not listening to this.
Your chances are going to be pretty good, Tom.
Yeah,
I hope so.
You're doing a course related to it.
We've wished you luck. That's all you need. So
Yeah.
everybody, I would say everybody flood Tom's DMs, but Tom doesn't have an Instagram, so you can't.
Yeah, because I'm not an absolute batty.
At one point, we're gonna drop the snap. We're gonna like Morse code the Snapchat for Tom, so everyone can add him and just
Morse code it.
All right.
I like it.
So, other than that, I've been
What else
doing
we've-
fuck all. Obviously, I've just been doing uni work because dissertation and things. Semester 1 has finished somewhat, and I've just submitted all my work. And now I've got semester 2 and a dissertation to do. So the next 4 months of my life are going to be absolute hell. And by the time you guys see me in the summer, I'm probably going to have no hair. My beard's going to be grey, and I'll look like a nun's nutsack with the amount of wrinkles I have. In my head.
Oh. A nun's nutsack.
Yeah, I don't know why that came to my head. I honestly don't know.
Actually, monk would have been a better one.
Yeah.
The less questions asked, the better. All right.
Yeah, just
Let's just let that one go under the rug and pretend
I
it
mean,
never happened.
whatever you like to get up to in your spare time. Just saying.
Well, I moisturise nuns and nutsack, so the nuns I work with, there's no issue there. But
you work with some weird nuns, man.
bro,
Yeah.
I got to stop saying this shit. This is bad.
Stop talking.
Right, so there's not really a lot's been happening in the world since last week's episode. Biden's been finally sworn in, if you will, as president, and I think Cam was saying earlier he's kind of just undoing all the shit that Trump did.
Removing his Diet Coke button.
Yes, I saw that. That was
Stupid.
brilliant.
You what?
Yeah,
I don't
watch
Diet
news.
Coke button.
I don't
So
watch
Trump,
news, so
Trump
tell
had
me.
this very, very fancy-looking button on the desk in the White House office, right? And it was this big-ass wooden button. And I think it had engravings on it. And when he pressed it, it alerted someone that he wanted a new bottle or can of Diet Coke.
You're
That was all it did. That was
kidding.
all it did.
Tell me
Diet
you're
Coke
lying.
button. No, there's an actual thing. You can see pictures of it next to him. At least
Fair
in his
play to him,
office.
right? He went with diet. I'll give him that. Fair enough. But that can't run. You can't be leader of the free world, so to speak, and
No.
have a massive plaque dedicated to some average Joe bringing you a bottle. Could you imagine? Yeah, you're that Donny that brings in the Coke, and you're on a date, and some bird goes, "So what do you do?" And you go, "Oh, I take bottles of Coke to the president." She would walk up and fucking leave, thinking you're taking the piss. You're like, no, I get paid an annual salary of $30,000 to take Coke to Donald J. Trump.
Nah, I'd just be
Yeah.
like, that's classified information. Just...
What do you really do? Well, off the
Well,
record,
I draw the H's on helicopter pads.
I stick stickers on iPhones. off the record, I take bottles of Coke to the president. You know he's bare smug about it as well. You know he's a dickhead.
Yeah.
It's probably some
definitely is.
30-year-old bloke who's got 7 chins. Someone off my £600 life just can't get out of the car. Drinking after bottles he actually takes Trump. That's why Trump's mad all the time. He doesn't actually get his Coke on time.
Yeah, that's
Pushes the
That's
button, it
not
takes
okay,
half an hour, and he's
though,
got to
yeah.
pay a delivery fee. Not like
Oh,
delivery
God,
with these free offers.
Speaking of delivery, I actually saw this news article earlier. This woman ordered a Mackey's to her house, right?
Okay, for
And
anyone,
the guy-
just quickly, for anyone that doesn't know, Mackey's is a slang word in the UK for McDonald's. Mackey's, Macca's, we say Mackey's, but it's slang for McDonald's, just for those that don't actually know.
Did that really need explaining?
Yeah, because, Americans are, well, they speak for themselves, don't they? But
Anyway,
Yeah.
so she ordered it, and it was on its way, and then the driver cancelled the order. And she looks out her fucking window, and the guy is sat on a wall outside her house eating her order.
what a man.
Well, Donny. That's
Yeah.
why I don't do that's why I don't do Deliveroo. So I was like, is that curry?
I mean, I can't do delivery because it doesn't come out. If it doesn't deliver to my house, I'm pretty sure it doesn't deliver to Callum's, because Callum's
No,
is even further away from me.
No, it doesn't. I only
Yeah.
get Just Eat, and there's only like 10 restaurants on it.
Listen, I get Just Eat, yeah, and I've come across. I think we mentioned it in an earlier episode. I found this place, Kay's Peri Peri, right? I think we briefly touched on this last week in the food episode, but I I genuinely think, yeah, when I order, it's like a chicken shop, like Boss Man shop, yeah. I swear,
Boss
you know-
Man
You know
shop.
the one. You know the one.
Yeah.
Like after a night out, you go there, you get your chicken burger and your strips, and that's it. I've been ordering from there recently because it's like £10 and you get free delivery, right? So I get like a burger, chips, and some strippers.
Couple strippers.
Wow, some
yeah,
strippers. What's
yeah,
your
trust
missus
me.
think of that?
She likes them. Tastes quite good.
Regularly tested.
Yes. Vaccinated as well. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, the guy that delivers it to me, every time he delivers it, I'm pretty sure soon enough we're going to be on like a first name basis. Started off with like, there you go. And now he comes down, he's like, hello sir, how are you? Good day. And I'm like, yeah mate, not bad, not bad. And he goes, same order. And I was like, you know me. I reckon they sit around the computer, yeah. And then when my order comes through, they see my name and address on the screen and they all like rejoice.
Oh,
Like-
God, that's
Like,
like
the
this
Messiah
guy.
has returned. He's returned!
There was this guy who ordered like takeout pizza. I think it was like every day from this same place, to the point where they like knew him, and he didn't order for 2 weeks, and they actually sent someone round his house to check up on him because they were just like, "Oh shit, what's happened?"
Did he die?
No, he was fine, luckily, but I think he was like, I think he'd like.
He got over his divorce and started to eat normally again.
He's like, oh shit,
Yeah.
I'm quite large now.
Yeah, he realised that he could no longer fit.
Yeah.
He no longer fit in the frame of his full length mirror, and he's like, "Oh shit!
I think
I
he was
need
like
two
really
mirrors.
depressed or something.
I need 2 mirrors to see myself." That's all. So you know it's bad. You can't even stand further enough back. You've got to have a separate mirror.
He has to
Just
sit
have it
down
on the
peeing.
floor.
Right. So now we've got over what's happened recently and took a little bit of a tangent about Diet Coke bottles and pizza. I think it's time to get on the topic. Because nothing's happened this week, we thought we would talk about a topic that's very near and dear to all three of our hearts. So, if you
Before-
don't like this topic,
Before
sorry.
we start the topic, I
Okay.
want to pick your brains.
Oh, okay.
I want to know
Be gentle.
what's the worst. I want to know what's the worst job interview you boys have had, because
Oh.
this popped into my brain the other day, and it just made me think of.
Well, I know yours.
Well, yeah, Will knows mine, but I think hearing me rant about it again is probably gonna be quite a funny thing.
Well, I'll go first. I haven't had many job. I've been in the same job for 5 years. So I haven't really had many job interviews. I had a couple, obviously. The worst one, there's probably like 3 I can think of. The worst one, I went for a job interview when I finished school, before the job I've got now. And it was like a 5 till 9 PM thing, like Monday to Friday. It was just like after college hours, basically, right? And it was like, I can't remember what the company was called. I think it was like Verco, and it was making medical equipment, so like making catheter bags and whatnot, right? Just that sort of shit. And I went for this interview, and I'm thinking it's going to be like this proper, like uptight, really formal thing. So I go in like a suit and shit, and the people in there are wearing. When I go in, they're wearing like trackies, and I was like, this is a bit weird. And so I'm in a line of people getting interviewed, and then there's me in a suit, and everyone's wearing like casual clothes. And I go in, they call my name in. Firstly, got my name wrong, called me Billy. So I was like,
How?
that's the first red flag. It reminded me of when I first joined our primary school, and he was like, "Oh, Billy, are you have any relation to Billy Moore?" And I was like, "Nope." Like, "Oh, you're not brothers?" "Nope, no, we're not." But call me Billy. I go in. He goes to shake my hand. He sneezes,
Oh.
and I was like, "Right, this ain't." And then he wipes his nose on his hand, and I was like, "Okay, this is getting really bad." So I sit down, and I've got all the
Get
stuff
in a
prepared,
bin.
right? And I shit you not, someone rung his phone, and he answered it 30 seconds into this interview, and he was on the phone for about maybe 5 minutes. And he was like, and he went outside the room, and I was just sat there. And my mum was sat outside, so I left my phone in the car. And I was like, what the fuck am I supposed to do now? I sat there for like 5 minutes. I contemplated leaving. He came back in, and then we went through the interview process, stuff like that. And then he just started asking me about like football, and I prepared so hard for like it's not even like it's not a funny story. It's just genuinely a shit interview because I spent my time like preparing and shit. And this Dolly was just on the phone. He was chilling. He had a packet of crisps in his bag that at one point he considered cracking open, but I think he saw the look on my face and was like, oh, probably not. But like for a 16-year-old that's never had like a proper, this was like my first ever job interview, and it was so bad. And then I found out later, right? He knows one of my mates because he was only like 23 at the time. I was 16, just a bit older, but he knew some. We had like a mutual friend. And I got completely ghosted. Like I didn't hear anything from them to this day. I still haven't. And apparently he was saying how shit of a what's the word? Not like an employee, but like a interviewee, like a subject. I don't know what the word is. Participant. How shit of a participant I was, and that I never answered any questions. And when I heard this, I was like, if I tell you what actually happened, you won't believe me. So I explained it to my mate, and he goes, "Sounds about right." And apparently all the people that work there are like druggies. And I was like, and he's like, yeah, the people that work there you only get the job if you're in the loop and you know them. He's like, they're all buddies that work there, and I was like, oh really? And he went, yeah, they're all buddies, like all of them.
Well, that's
like,
typical.
And I was like, because like, Callum just asked the question, I'm thinking that's really only the bad interview I've ever had. The rest of them have been fairly like nice people.
Normal.
Yeah, like normal interviews. Like I've had ones where I get along with people and have a laugh, but like they've been fairly normal interviews, like what you'd expect from an interview. But that was a madness.
Yeah, I don't think I've had any really bad interviews. You know, like, I've been quite lucky. I've had quite a few interviews, but I haven't had any ones where it's been like an absolute train wreck and just been awful and just put me off of interviews for life. But most of mine have been pretty civil. Got along with all my people that I was getting interviewed by. So I think, excuse me, I'm quite lucky. I think.
Yeah.
I think I'm just quite a likable person.
I want to hear Callum's.
I wouldn't stretch it that much.
I want to hear the passion in Callum's voice. Before you start this, Callum, I'm gonna little disclaimer. Okay, Callum told me this story. What was it, Callum? 3 years ago?
3 or 4 years ago?
3, 4 years. 2018, I think. 20,
no, yeah, it would have been 3 years ago because it would have been
4 years
when
ago.
I started driving.
And I've known Callum for 15 years. Something like that. I've never heard him get so riled up in his life, and he's had some things that should have riled him up that didn't. I've never heard him get so. I thought he was gonna like. At one point, I genuinely thought he wasn't fit to drive his car. I was in the passenger seat and I was scared for my life because he was screaming at me. At one point, I was just thinking, I haven't done anything wrong. Why are you shouting at me? But please tell the story because it's just this could take like 5 minutes of time, but it's worth listening to.
Oh no, you should have heard it when I said it to our friend from uni, me, rest in peace, taken from us too early. But when I told him, if you'd have heard his reaction,
He's not
was
dead.
So funny. He was just dying. It's hilarious. But
I think we should make it known quickly. He isn't actually dead. He just vanished off the face of the earth.
Yeah,
All we
he's
see
still
his
alive
life
and
is Instagram. Yeah, he's still alive, but we don't know to what extent.
we don't know if he's been locked up in a dungeon or not.
We just see the annual Instagram post. That's about it. With his missus. That's it. Anyway, continue.
Right, so this was back when I first started trying to look for estate agency work, and there's this big chain of estate agents here in the UK. They're quite well known, especially down here in like the southeast, and I'm not going to say who they are. Oh god, excuse me. And got the interview. I was just like, oh, this is fucking fantastic, because the first place I'd like actually gotten a job for was this like independent family-run place that a friend of mine helped me get the job for, and that was the best interview I had. He took me out for a pint, and then we were just sat chilling. He was really informal, just asking me questions. It was fantastic. And then I went to this place because I sort of realised with this independent place, like it was quite new, and I didn't really want to risk joining a new business for it to then eventually, like, you know, collapse. I don't know if it's still going or not.
I was
But,
just going to say, did they collapse? Do you know?
I don't know. I'll have a cheeky look after we record this. But
have a little gander.
yeah, so got an interview with this big chain. I was just like, oh, this is going to be great. You know, proper prim, professional. Really did my homework for the interview because I was thinking it was going to be like any other interview I'd had before. You know, they just sort of ask you questions about what you know about the company, sort
Just
of the job
standards,
role.
the standard
yeah,
stuff,
the standard stuff. And so I get there and get like a brief tour, and this was at their main headquarters. And get a brief tour of the place, very nice. Then sit down, and these two geezers come out, sit opposite me, and they ask the usual spiel. And then one of them pulls out a brick and plonks it on the table.
Oh, here we go.
And this is when I go.
I can feel the anger brewing.
Now that I look at it, I get the gist of it, but A, it's so unexpected, and B, like, just the following question is just stupid. But
It's not
like,
ethical, is it?
no. But so he pulls out this brick and plonks it on the table. I'm just like, okay, what's this? And he goes, "Sell this brick to me." I went, "What?" And he goes, "Sell this brick to me. Come on."
Tom, that was my initial reaction, Tom, was just a little laugh. It gets worse.
So what I should have done was gone, okay, what are you buying bricks for? So what do you need them for? And then they'd say what they need it for. And then I'd say, okay, how many do you need? And they'd say, and then I'd go, okay, perfect. I've got this supplier who build like high quality bricks. They're perfect for the kind of thing you're looking to do, blah, blah, blah. So it would have been like a whole sales pitch, essentially. So trying to find out what they want and then wrapping your sales pitch around that, essentially. But because I had no idea, and I didn't get any briefing beforehand, because sometimes these places, they'll like give you slight briefings on what to expect from the interview. I had none of that. So I was just there like, So then he explained to me what I should have said. And then he then asked me to try and sell a pen to him, because it would have been a bit easier. So tried that. Again, failed, because...
He's definitely watched The Wolf of Wall Street one too many times.
Yeah.
Sell me this pen.
And then...
Just as a fat line of coke off the table.
Yeah.
And
then
then
this
this clam.
next-
I've already bought it.
Yeah. This
Before he
next
sniffed it.
question... This next question is what really pushed me over the edge when I came to rant about it. He points to his colleague and goes, okay, imagine, I don't know, Stephen here has been born blind his entire life. Describe the colour yellow to him. It took me a good 5 minutes to try and do that.
I wish I had the video.
It's just like, why? And he's just like, you can try and use the other senses. I'm just like, how? Like, if you give him a banana, which is a yellow object, he's still not going to be able to visualise the fucking colour yellow. He's just going to be holding this banana, just like, can I shove this up my arse? I don't
Lick
care
this
about what
wall.
colour it is. Like, and like, you've got to think of like emotions, and it's like, okay, but it doesn't matter what emotion you're describing to someone who's blind, because A, they've never seen an emotion if they've been born blind, B, they've never seen a colour associated with that type of emotion, so they're not going to have that picture in their head. It's fucking stupid.
So this was
And then
when
he-
you first told me this. I thought you could have told him about daisies, and you were like, "He doesn't know what a fucking flower looks like." He's like
Yeah.
screaming at me.
How
does he know
fucking
what a fucking
stupid.
flower looks like?
And
Oh,
then
he's dying.
and then they were like, okay, sell yourself to us. I'm just like, I'm not a fucking prostitute. Like,
No, I
Jesus.
don't know. I reckon you could. I reckon you can give it a good run.
Oh, I am
Wouldn't make
nowadays,
much,
but
now I'm a bit more in my prime, so to speak.
yeah,
I'm
I'm trying
telling
to
you,
practice
Elise.
out. But I'm just there like, what do you want from me? Because I'm just thinking, like, you've seen my CV. You've seen I've had no experience in this line of work. I've been working in pubs for the past, like, 2 or 3 years. The fuck
Pubs.
are you expecting of me? Like, okay, yes, I can sell a pint, but that's because I know what a pint is, and B, like most of them
Just
I'd have
answered your own
tried
question.
anyway.
You just answered
So-
your own question. He just wanted free bevs.
Yeah,
He was just there to make a friend.
he made an enemy.
The amount of free pints I got from you is outrageous.
Oh yeah,
You and
But,
Chirac.
fucking hell, like these guys were just rinsing me, and then they were like, "Okay, we'll get back in touch with you soon," which is the typical, "Yeah, you're never gonna hear from us
fucked
again"
it.
sort of thing. And just the first thing I did as soon as I left that place was, this is when I was sort of not seeing someone, but doing playful things with a female.
Yeah, we know.
Around about a time.
You had a boy toy fuck fake
yes.
thing.
And
yeah.
on the way there, I phone up my mate and I'm just ranting to him down the phone, and all I could just hear is him dying. Like he just couldn't breathe for about like 5 minutes of the rant. It was I was so pissed off. I just would not stop ranting about it. And Will has video evidence of when I ranted to him about it.
If
and
I can find
I'm very
it, yeah.
tempted to put it in the YouTube video if he finds it.
I'll tell you what, I'll look after this. I have an extensive search. If I find it, I will post it on Instagram when we do the promotion for this episode.
Oh yeah,
So
actually, that'd be
you would
better.
have already, if you're listening to this, you would have already heard it. Well, a snippet of it. But you will get to see, if you are listening to this, go back on the Instagram, and if it's there in the promotion, it will be the video that I've posted, and just listen to the anger in the Stan's voice. He's quite calm telling it now, but when the emotion was raw, and it was still like heavy on his heart, I genuinely thought he was going to deliberately just run someone over just to get the anger out. It was actually terrifying, because he's quite a calm guy, but Callum just lost his fucking shit when he was telling this story the first time. It was so funny. I think what made it worse is you were driving, so you were trying to concentrate as well.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh fuck, I can't turn. Just screaming at everything.
Oh, it was the worst. Like, I've never had an interview that bad before, and that was just fucking awful.
It was funny though.
That was But anyway, should we move
okay.
on to our main topic of
We're
conversation?
gonna have to start
before-
putting topics. We're gonna have to start saying at the beginning of these episodes like what the topic is straight away, because people are gonna be like listening to this now, going, "What's the topic? You said like 20 minutes ago you had a topic.
Yeah.
We're 22
Now,
minutes in.
we'll-
Where's the topic?"
We'll just start doing like pre-recorded stuff, just like part 1.
We might actually, you know what? We might actually have to be like, disclaimer: if you want to hear the actual topic, skip to 23 minutes. That might have to.
Nah,
we
but
might
that
have to start
reduces our listening time, which means we don't get the views.
doing- Yeah, we do. You don't get views on a podcast. It's an audio thing.
Well, listens. There you go. You don't get the full
Downloads,
listen.
streams. Yeah. Anyway, we digress from our 20-minute adventure onto interviews. Our topic of today, today, whatever. I can't speak. Sorry. The topic of today is something, as I was saying, all three of us hold near and dear to our hearts. And if you don't like this topic, then you've just wasted 25 minutes of your life listening to us ramble.
Sorry.
That was the nicest whistle ever. It's gaming and video games. Now, there's no specific thing about video games we're going to talk about, so this thing could be an hour and a half, 2 hours long. It won't be.
It's
only
game. We have to be made.
There's likely to be a part 2 to this at some point further down the line. But in general, we're just going to talk about games, video games, first game, like best games. Anyway.
Oh my god, Call of Duty.
I'm gonna quickly state something that happened yesterday, which I sent you guys, and then it reversed today. As an Xbox man, avid Xbox man, I have invested a lot of money into Xbox over the years. Recently got one of the new Xboxes. Committed the next 7 years of my life to the team.
Oh my god, I got the new Xbox.
They announced
Series X.
that was Tom when he was like drooling over the load speed and how fast my Sea of Thieves was loading.
It's fucking ridiculous.
He was like, "Oh, I want one."
I really do. Like, I'm just
they
I'm
are
waiting
sick,
to paid.
They're sick. They're worth the money, but they're quite hard to get a hold of at the moment. Although they're getting
Damn
easier.
near impossible.
They are getting easier
Xbox is
because
getting more free,
Microsoft Poland are stocking them and they ship to the UK
It's because
with
there's so many of them here.
no Brexit charges as well.
But anyway, yesterday Microsoft stated. So when we were younger, Callum, Microsoft used to charge what, £40 for a 12-month membership Xbox Live back in the 360 days.
Oh god, they did, and then they also did deals where, like, depending on how long you've been subscribed for, you start to get like more and more money off. So I think it got to the point where you and I were paying like 20 quid a year.
Yeah. So I've been on Xbox. I was showing these boys yesterday or the day before. I've been on Xbox Live with the current account I have. I've had an Xbox Live for like 11 years, but in total probably about 13. So I've been around the block a few times with Xbox. I'm quite a loyal bloke, right? Yesterday they announced that they were up in their Xbox Live, so they've got Game Pass and whatnot, which is like their thing they're trying to shove down everyone's throats. And I finally caved and I found a loophole to get it for half the price. But they've got Game Pass, and yesterday they announced that if you're someone that just likes getting gold memberships, you're not bothered about Game Pass because none of the games on there interest you, you're not worried about the perks, you just want to play with your pals, they announced that 12-month memberships were no longer a thing. They were doing 6-month memberships for $60. That's what the price of a previous 12-month membership was. So if you wanted 12-month membership, you would have to spend $120. That's £100 roughly in UK terms. Right? Game Pass is $120 a year. So that's essentially saying you may as well get Game Pass. Right? And if they kept that pricing, you may as well, it would have been worth the money then, because it's the same price for more, essentially. You're paying the same price, but for more. So essentially, that was their way of trying to get Game Pass. Obviously, everybody was in fucking uproar on Twitter and whatnot. That's the only thing I could see. And this morning, so yesterday I woke up to that news and I was outraged because I was like, I can't believe I've just spent all this fucking money and I've been conned into this shit. And then I woke up this morning and big dub for the Xbox community, Microsoft reversed it within 24 hours of doing it. So now they've said that like, blah blah blah, we were sorry, we got it wrong, we're not going to up the prices. In fact, they did one better. I didn't know this, but Xbox previously was the only membership, like community, where you had to have an online membership to play free-to-play games. So like,
oh yeah.
So for example, when I borrowed my sister's boyfriend's PlayStation 4, I could play games like Fortnite and Warzone, even though I didn't have a PSN Plus account, because obviously it's free to play, so they weren't charging me. I didn't actually know, because I've always had an online membership for Xbox. If you wanted to play Fortnite, which is a free to play game, or Warzone, or Rocket League, if you wanted to play that online, you had to have Xbox Live.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
I didn't know
That's
that. How much of a con is that? Yeah, and then
cheeky.
so when I saw the tweet Microsoft put out, something along the lines of like, we got it wrong, we understand, we listened to our consumers, we apologise. So we're going to do one better. We're going to update our free-to-play terms so that if you don't have Xbox Live, you can still play free-to-play games. And I thought to myself, what's a free-to-play fucking game that's online only? Like, you shouldn't have to pay to play a free-to-play game. So,
No.
in a sense, they one-up themselves, but at the same time, they haven't. They've just caught up with everyone else, which is kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, Microsoft and Sony haven't caught up with everyone else because
No, obviously not. But like in terms of
If
catching up
you-
with Sony,
if you no, like neither of them have, because if you play on PC, you don't have to have any form of subscription to play online,
don't you
apart
have
from
to-
your Wi-Fi.
you have to have a subscription to get games. No,
No,
in some states.
no, that's for Game Pass. But like,
Oh, yeah,
so say if
sorry.
you buy a game on Steam, you don't have to pay anything else to play online. Like,
Yeah, there's
got-
no
it's got to have a-
subscription fees to
It's
online.
all you're paying is for your Wi-Fi, and the fact that game, like, I mean, Sony used to do it for free.
That
for
was
the
back in,
PS3.
like,
Back in the
days.
PS3 days.
Yeah,
that
that's
was
back
like
in
the
the
big selling
PS3
point.
days, and then for the PS4 they were like, fuck it, we're going to charge you now to play online. It's like, why? That was the thing that
PlayStation Plus.
that was
Speaking
the
of the
thing that made
PS3, I remember
you like one up.
when
like,
that PS3, we were in like year 5 or year 5, year 6. I remember when it came out, and everybody was raving about it. And I was one of the few people that could see the future and see that, not obviously see the future, but I could see what was going to happen and be like, right, well, PlayStation have fucked this because of the price. And everyone was like, yeah, but I remember Tom was in his boat and a couple of our mates were like, yeah, but the price you pay for the console, we got like mad political about it. Like one of our mates was like, the price you pay for the console, the extra $100 for the PS3, the membership online is free, so you make it back. But like PS3 was such a shambles of a fucking console. Looking back on
oh
it,
yeah,
like I've still got my PS3. I got
They-
it for 80 quid.
they really fucked it when they got rid of the PS2 and PS1 backwards compatibility as well, because the very first
Yeah,
issue
why?
models had that, and then when they made the second wave, They got rid of it.
I've still got
Don't
the
understand
fat,
why.
you know, the fat 40 gig PS3. I've still got it sat in the other room.
Oh, 40 gig on a console. My God.
Mate, I remember I was in the loft the other week and I was getting some stuff out for Christmas. It was about a month ago, and I found my very first 360 that I had, with the 20 gig, like the 20 gigabyte removable HDD, like the hard drive
Yeah.
on top. I found
Yeah,
that.
I've got one on top of my desk and it's fucked.
I found that, yeah, and I was just like looking at it. Me and my dad just both started laughing, and I was like, "Could you imagine trying to get a game now for less than 20 gig? Like, it's almost impossible. It's kind of
Look at
terrifying."
indie game.
But the thing is,
like,
back
No
in
Man's Sky is like 11, isn't it? Like,
Back in the day, though, you didn't have to install games when you put a disc
you
in.
just put a disc in
You
and
just
go.
put the disc in and it worked. Now, you've got to wait fucking 10 minutes for the game to install, even though you've put the fucking disc in, and then you can play it. But then, even if you've bought a disc copy, and it's installed it on your system, you still have to put the disc in order to play it if you've bought it on the disc, because logic.
This is the thing.
I don't
now,
understand.
Kids nowadays, like, don't understand the I remember one of my ex-girlfriends had her little brother had like a Xbox One, and he was like, "Oh, we've got to install it." I was like, "Yeah, I know." And all I could think was like, "God, the kids these days will never know the joy." Like, I remember picking up like FIFA 08 on 360 and coming home and being like, "Right, slap that bad boy in, let's go." And I'd play it straight away for like 3 hours. There was no downloading shit. I was just gone. The rest of the day was gone. Kids these days will never know that joy.
The struggle of the Red Ring of Death.
I remember, yeah, when
jeez.
when Red Dead 2 came out, one of my favourite games of all time, and I knew it was going to be a hell of a download. And I was out on a night out with my uni lot, and I left early to go to the midnight launch of Red Dead 2. And I was parallel, I was shit faced, and I was stood in the line at game, and I stank of booze, and we waited like half an hour to get in this queue because we got there fairly early. Doors opened up, took about half an hour to get to the front of the line. I got the game, I went back, and I think because I had the One X, which was the 4K Xbox, I had to download the game and the initial like 15 gig 4K patch. I did not get to play Red Dead Redemption 2 for 2 days because I had to download all that shit. So that I just spent 50 quid on this game that I've been waiting 4 or 5 years for. I'm excited. It took 2 days because I was doing it off the uni Wi-Fi, which was shocking. And this was before I learned how to use the Ethernet cable at uni because you had to have like a bypass for it. But I was downloading it on uni Wi-Fi, so you can imagine how slow it was. And I was, oh mate, I just moments like that, yeah, just make me sad because I'm like, I miss just putting a disc in.
Yeah, so do I. I mean, like, on PCs, it's very rare now that you can get, what the fuck is going on? Someone's
I
dying
think
in the
Tom's
background.
sister's dying.
It's called a baby.
Like, when you buy laptops nowadays, or pre-built PCs, even if you just buy a standard PC case, they don't have disk drives no more. Everything's digitalized. Yeah, it's very, very hard nowadays to get a laptop and PC with a disk drive
That
put in,
Yeah, mine.
unless
my
you go
laptop
for the
doesn't have
really
one.
cheap systems.
that was like these obviously the new consoles, the Xbox and PS5. Both have disk drives, but both have cheaper alternatives without disk drives that are digital. I would argue that the PS5 digital is slightly better value for money because it's still the same specs software wise.
Yeah, same specs, same hardware,
it's
same
just no
storage
disk tray.
size. Yeah,
But then again, it is $100 more dear, but you know it's worth the price you're paying, I guess.
but you
whereas,
can still play in 4K,
Yeah.
whereas you can't with the Xbox
Whereas
Series
the
S.
Series S is 120 frames,
It's
but
2K,
it's
innit?
like no, yeah, it's 1440. It goes up to.
Oh
But,
yeah.
If you look at like Digital Foundry tests, sometimes like games like that will drop. Certain games, like they tried to play Valhalla, and it was dropping to like 1980 at times because it just isn't strong enough. It's a good entry if you're looking to get a next gen console, but it's not strong enough to run like games like Warzone, for example, that are 120 gig base like download. That's without actually having like Call of Duty downloaded as well.
Yeah.
They take like on like even now the Xbox I have now, the Series X, still takes like, granted the load time is fucking ridiculous because of the SSD, but it still has to like load, and you don't get frame drops. But on my like One X, it took about a minute to load a game, and I was getting frame drops. Now it can run like a solid 60 FPS on it at 4K, which is amazing. But like, it's still like makes you realise, well, like I thought when leave her alone. Like when they announced the Series S, there were rumours there was going to be like a lower tier version. But I was like, wow, that'll sell like wildfire. And then they announced it, and I was like, that's going to sell like crazy. But it isn't, because people are buying these next gen consoles for the longevity of it. Like I'm going to have this Xbox for about 7 years. Obviously, they'll release like a mid-cycle version, as they always do. Like they had the PS4 Pro and the Series S, the One S and X.
Yeah.
But
I've got something to talk about after that.
I don't think that the Series S. I think it's probably good. Like for now, I don't see the point in getting a next gen console unless you're getting one of the higher tier ones, because obviously, especially with Xbox, there's not many. In fact, no, there's no Series X exclusives right now. There's one coming out at the end of the month called Medium, which is a horror game, which I'm really excited for, which is on Game Pass. I've already got it pre-downloaded. But other than that, that's actually quite interesting. I'm not sure that's a Series S game either. I think it's just X. But the Series S will eventually be just phased out and won't get any sort of upgrades for it, because all the... So for example, like Sea of Thieves is the main one we play at the moment. That has a Series X/X like upgrade, for example. And you get like 4K 60 FPS ray tracing and all the jazz, right? But the Series S can't do any of that. Like it can't do 4K. I'm not entirely sure
it just improves on the frames, I think.
It just improves the frames, that's it. I'm not entirely sure it has ray tracing either. I could be wrong. But every enhancement developers are trying to do for these new games are for utilising the power that the PS5 and the Series X can give out, not the Series S. So I feel like the Series S is almost like a mid-gen console. It's not really a next-gen. It's just.
I
like
reckon what they'll do, they'll change the way the S is, and they'll make it like how the PS5 digital is for Sony. So they'll change it so it's like the Series X but discless, and it's got the same specs and everything.
I'm not entirely sure they'd be able to do it, to be honest.
No, they would be able. Mate, if Sony could do it, then they could do it with that.
Like we said, the difference in the PS5 and the digital PS5 is just a disc tray. There's actual...
Yeah, but it's still £100 cheaper.
Yeah, but there's actual interior differences with the Series S and X. There's actual...
No, but that's what I'm saying. I'm saying they're going to completely phase out the S and just change it to what Sony's got, basically.
I mean, that would probably be like the mid-cycle console, but like...
Well, that's just the slim version of it, really.
Yeah, but like at the moment, if we're talking like specs, I think the Xbox has like 12 something teraflops if you want to be a nerd about it, which don't really make a difference if you've not got the games to prove the power of it, but they'll come further down the line. But the Xbox has got like 12, and I think the Series S has... I'm not entirely sure.
It's 8, I think.
6, 8? But my Xbox One X that I had prior to the Series X had 4. So that was almost as strong as the Series X, and it did 4K games. So if you're more of a 4K person than you are a frames and refresh rate type of guy, I would argue that you're better off getting an Xbox One X than you are a Series S.
Yeah.
Because you get the 4K, you do get 60 FPS on it, it's just not as consistent. Anyway,
not as crisp.
Yeah, crisp.
No, I've got something to say about the PS5 as well. So both consoles have expandable storage, and
yeah, correct.
Microsoft are doing these little things that you they're like you stick them in like a designated slot.
It's an expandable SSD.
But it's so expensive. They're like
they're 200
and something quid.
$20, yeah.
So I'm not being a PlayStation fanboy. In terms of how they've gotten their way around it, it makes a lot more sense.
You are. I
am a Sony fanboy, but I do
want
plan to get a Series X at some point. But the first thing I'm getting is a PS5 because obviously I've got a PlayStation 4 and the amount of money I've put into Sony at the minute, it makes sense for me to make that change. And then the Series X I will get, but for now my laptop does just fine. But then eventually I do want to get Series X because when more and more games come out, it means I can play it with you guys when Tom gets his Series X.
Yeah, so
I do plan on it.
This is the age. Sorry, Karen, I just interrupted.
Yeah, you bastard.
Sorry.
But the way Sony's doing their expandable storage is it's an actual NVMe
yeah. I've seen the
slot.
videos of it. Yeah.
And if you're getting an NMIe drive, they can be so much cheaper. Like, if you can get one that fits within that spec, because they're doing quality control tests throughout like the first couple of months of this year to see which ones will actually fit within that slot. And you can get some, you can get like NVMe SSDs for like 80 quid. So it's going to be a lot cheaper to get expandable storage, and you can use external hard drives as well, like what I've got, to plug into your PlayStation for now until you can get one of these.
You can
And
use
then-
externals on the Xbox, but you don't get
Yeah.
the benefit of the SSD and the load
Yeah,
times and
exactly.
stuff like that. You can just play the game as it was intended to be played.
But so you've got that. But about when you mentioned the PS4 Pro and stuff like that, there's been these like plans came out related to the PS5, which is making people think that they're planning on making a PS5 Pro, and it's got 2 graphics cards in it. They're basically making like a high-end. So like, if you look at
That'd be
the
massive.
consoles now, they're basically like mid-range spec PCs essentially
Yeah,
for your living room.
for the price you'll get as well. It's good.
Yeah,
value
for the
for
price
money.
you're getting, it's fucking great. And then if you think about this PS5 Pro, if it is actually what they're planning on making, if it's got 2 graphics cards in there, they are making essentially a high-end PC.
But how much is
that
that
you'll
gonna
get-
cost?
It'll probably cost
$700,
I don't know,
$800?
so let's say it's $450 now.
It'll be about 800. Has to be.
Nah, it'll probably be less than that.
7.
It'll probably be about 6 to
I
7,
would-
6
I'd
to
s-
7, I'd say.
I'd say probably 650. Yeah.
But even still, like, even though $600 to $700 or pounds or whatever, that's still better value for the performance you'd be getting if you were to buy a pre-made high-end PC, because you can build high-end PCs for cheaper than you buy them pre-made.
Yeah. If you know how to.
Yeah, if you know how to. I mean, like, but it's just a bit mad that consoles have gotten to this stage. Like, I love playing on PC because it's got its advantages. In some cases, for example, no subscription to play online, wider game library as well. You don't get
100%.
you do get some exclusives on PC, but they're quite rare. And then, like, for games like shooters and stuff like that, playing on mouse and keyboard, you've got a superior advantage to somebody who uses a controller. But then you could access like more people as well through playing on PC. So
How do
that's
you
got
mean?
its advantages. So like being able to make friends online is a lot easier. Some games have like bigger match sizes because like these next gen consoles have only just gotten to like 64 player teams, whereas on some games on PC you can do 120 v 120.
Battlefield 4 back in like 2015 had 32 player teams on either side.
No, I'm on about 64 v 64.
Oh, I think you can. Do
Yeah.
that. I think you can do that. I think you could do that on Battlefield 5 if you had Battlefield 5. I'm pretty sure you could. I might be wrong, but you can definitely do that on the new consoles. But like,
Oh yeah, you definitely can on the new ones.
there are very few console games that have that sort of range. You know what I mean, like there are very few console games that I'd argue Call of Duty and Warzone has 100-player lobbies. Fortnite 100-player lobbies, but Fortnite's not very demanding.
Yeah.
Battlefield's really the only game that has that sort of mass level, like that mass scale war sort of thing. There's really only
Yeah.
shooting games that have that sort of mass.
Yeah. Unless you're playing MMO, where you can have hundreds of players logged in at once.
But like
But-
NBA 2K tried to do that with their new next gen game. They tried to have the city, which is an upgrade from the neighborhood, which nobody fucking asked for, yet somehow we got. And I haven't got next gen 2K because it's a waste of money in my opinion. I'm not paying £60 for a game that I already have, but it's they were supposed to have 100-player cities at a time, and apparently it's so big, and only like 20% of the cities actually like enter. You can only enter about 20% of what's actually there, so it's just like using unnecessary power of the console to render it. Plus, you get like 30 people in, and you're like dying already. It's just a waste.
But like back to sort of PCs, like so with consoles, the good thing about them is their life cycles are roughly about 7 years before the next generation one comes out.
Yeah.
And within that time frame, you're still okay. Like I like PCs, but at the moment, I used to care about graphics on PC, but now that I have a laptop that can run 144 hertz, I'd happily give up 4K to be able to run a game at 144 hertz because it's so much smoother, such a better experience. Like my phone's got a 120 hertz mode, and I had it on the highest resolution, which doesn't enable it. So I switched it down so I could have it, and I'm never going back because it's so much better. It's so smooth.
This is a subjective argument.
Well, no, but you're experiencing it at 60 FPS on 4K. My
No.
laptop cannot play 4K because I don't have a 4K monitor on my laptop. It's
No,
only
this is
1080p.
this is what I mean when I say it's subjective. I could play if I had the monitor for it, which I don't, which I'm planning to get. I could play 4K 120 FPS, right?
But a lot of games aren't enabling that at the minute.
No,
That's the
correct.
problem.
Because, yeah, but what I'm saying
Yeah,
is,
at the minute though.
yeah,
At the minute,
down
yeah.
the line, what I'm saying is this is a subjective argument, and I want to know where Tom stands on this. But the subjectiveness behind this is I have played 120 hertz, 144 hertz before on monitors, and obviously monitors are capable of doing it. I played PUBG at like 244 or 240. I played Fortnite at 240. A girl I used to date, have flatmate, Cam, you know, he had like a
Yeah.
very high end PC and very high end monitors, probably cost in total about $4,500. While playing this is lovely and it's amazing and like it's way better than 60 FPS, I can't lie. It depends on the game. For example, I'm a big fan of sports games. I don't feel you need 120 frames per second while playing Madden or FIFA or NBA. I think that's 60 is enough, right? 4K 60 FPS.
Oh yeah, no, for stuff like that.
For
For
games like
shooters,
that.
it's a
And-
lot better.
I'm getting to that. For games like Sea of Thieves and single player games, or like games like Sea of Thieves or the one I'm playing at the moment, Jedi Fallen Order, stuff like that, 60 frames per second in a single player game is more than ideal. Like I played Spider-Man on PS4 Pro. That's perfectly fine in performance mode. The Witcher, perfectly fine in performance mode, right? You don't need 120 F for that. I think the only time that I would ever sacrifice my resolution for frames ever is if I was if I'm playing a semi-competitive. Like I don't play at a competitive level at all, but if I'm playing like comp level, like say Warzone or Fortnite or I don't know CS:GO, something where like fine details like that matter, like split seconds matter, then I can see the reason you would sacrifice. But as a casual gamer, I think 4K 60 FPS is perfect. It's a great middle ground, and if you've got the next gen console, I think you should be aiming for 4K 60 FPS on any game.
Yeah.
But
It
obviously,
just depends on what you play.
exactly,
I
it's
think
very,
that's the main
it's
thing.
very subjective, and what games you play as well. And I want to know Tom's piece on it because
Well, it's just I'd probably have to agree with like single player games. It definitely have to be 60 FPS 4K because you want that certain level of immersion in the game.
Yeah.
And if it's more detailed, you know, like God of War, I imagine in 4K 60 FPS looks incredible. And I don't think you'd probably notice much of a difference if it was just like HD running at 140 hertz. I think it would still look better in the 4K in that sense. But if it's more competitive gaming, like, you know, CS:GO and all that, those split seconds can make them like such a difference between it.
yeah,
I think it's more quicker refresh rates for multiplayer games and then 4K for single player
Yeah.
games because you want to be
Yeah.
more immersed.
So this is, you touched on God of War. Like I never had a PS4, so later in the, I think like early last year, so around like August, I borrowed my sister's boyfriend's PS4 Pro, so I could play all the exclusives like Uncharted and Spider-Man, God of War.
Yes.
Um,
You sponged off of my account in order to
yeah,
play all of these games.
three. I downloaded, what was it, Horizon, Ghost of Tsushima, and God of War. They were the three.
No, you played all of the Uncharted's. You
No,
didn't have
no,
four.
no.
I think you did. You?
I had four.
Oh, did he have all of the Uncharted?
He's got all four. Yeah, he's got the complete collection, and then he's got four separate games. But I played all of these, and games like the two that were made, the two big ones, because I didn't really get into Horizon too much, but the two big ones were God of War and Spider-Man for me were big. Each I could play in like somewhat 4K, checkerboard 4K, it's basically 4K, BTEC 4K I call it. You could play in 4K 30 FPS, or you could play in like 1440 60 FPS. And levels like that, I would rather, like when I was playing Spider-Man, and like right now I'm having the same thing with Jedi Fallen Order, although it is 4K, it just doesn't say it. I dropped from the 4K resolution so I could get the 60 FPS in a single player game, because while 4K is lovely to look at, when you're swinging through New York City at high fucking speed, it's not very nice on the eyes to see like screen tear and stuff like that. It's not very appealing. And the same with like Fallen Order. It's got a Series X upgrade, right, and a PS5 upgrade, but like playing it, you have to put it in performance mode to get the frames up to 60, right? And I believe on the original game you could get 60 FPS anywhere, somewhat near that, but it dropped the resolution to like 1080. You can do it on this, and it takes the resolution to native 4K. And I tried for a laugh to put it on graphic like enhancing mode instead of performance mode, and holy shit, my eyes just fell apart. I played it for like 30 seconds, and I was like, yeah, nah, I can't do it. So I went back to the 60 FPS, but like it's still 4K. It's just that games like that, and God of War as well, I dropped the resolution to, because God of War in 1080p, I can imagine, is an absolutely gorgeous looking game. Let alone playing in like whatever it took it to down to when I put it into the 60 FPS mode. That game is mental.
Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it?
Just if you could, there are a few games in the world you can put 4K 30 frames per second on, stand still, and just not look like admire how nice something looks, and that's one of them. It's so nice. Yeah. Another one's Battlefield. Battlefield's always been visually like quite good.
I'd also like to point out that me and you have had this debate constantly, but checkerboard 4K on the PS4 Pro doesn't matter depending on how close you are to your screen. If you sit right up to a telly or monitor, then yes, you are going to notice the difference. But if you're like me, where I'm sat on a sofa in my room at the moment and I'm a good distance away from the telly, I can't see the difference because you're too far away.
I play on a 27-inch 4K monitor, so
yeah,
I would see
there you
the
go.
difference.
So you would see the difference. But now PS5 can do native 4K. So like with Spider-Man Miles Morales, you can switch it to native 4K with ray tracing.
If it's 30
but
FPS,
it drops it down to 30 FPS. Yeah, that's
well,
the problem.
I would rather, in that situation, I would rather play. What is
60.
it? 60 FPS or whatever it drops the resolution to.
I think it stays on 4K, but it does it checkerboard to make it easier.
And it takes off. I know it takes off ray tracing as well, but ray tracing.
Yeah.
To me, ray tracing isn't. See, I think I said this.
No, ray tracing's very demanding for games.
Before this,
if you've
before I got the console, I was like, ray tracing doesn't really appeal that much to me. But I'd never actually properly seen ray tracing in a video game. And then I was playing Forza Horizon 4 the other day. And I had a meltdown to Tom about how fun this looked, how good it looked, because it was. I've set the scene. I'm driving. I've just bought a Porsche 911 GTR 3 Series, right? Lovely car. I'm flying through this woodland area down this little road in the valleys of Scotland, right? Gorgeous, and it's springtime. The leaves are falling off the trees, and the sun shone through the trees and the leaves, right? And I could see the reflection of my driver's face. I was in first person, and I could see the reflection of my driver's face in the windshield. And I could see the reflection in the windshield of what was behind me without even looking in the in the rearview mirror. And I could see like reflections and shit off a windshield. And it was amazing. And I was playing Warzone the other day, and that doesn't have a Series X thing where it looks better. And then I was like, oh, I'll play Cold War. Cold War does have a Series X thing, like upgrade. And I was playing like Nuketown, I think it was. And like you could see like the difference in just like I'm looking down a sight, and people run behind me, and I can see the reflection of people running behind me on my sight. Like stuff like that you don't even see really in real life sometimes, and like movies. And they've got this in like video games now. It's kind of scary to think about how good things actually look now. But yeah, ray tracing, I can imagine, is very demanding.
Oh yeah, like if you, well, I mean, you've never been able to experience it, but like with PC gaming, so like your graphics settings for PC are so fine tuned. You can select any option you want to enhance your gaming experience, and all you have to do on PC is basically, so you could have like all of your graphics on the highest setting if you've got the PC to run it, and you could be getting like, I don't know, 60 FPS, and then you can go, oh, let me try ray tracing. You put that on, and you go down to like 25, and you're just like, oof.
Off.
Yeah.
Speaking of like PC specs, the good thing with consoles is during their 7-year lifespan, the quality of the games is still only going to improve. Like, they'll only improve. They can't really go back unless you've got some shitty developer who just goes, yeah, fuck it, I'm just gonna make a 1080p game on this 4K 120Hz system. But with PC,
2K.
the lifespan,
I had to drop it. They're cunts. I hate them.
unless
2K
you're
has always
buying,
been like that.
yeah, unless you're building a very high-end gaming system that can cost you to like $2,000, the average longevity of your system's going to be between 2 to 5 years, maybe, because the parts are just pumped out so quickly. There's constant. That's the thing with technology. There's constant improvement, which just makes like previous models just obsolete, because it's just a constant flow. It's like with mobile phones. There's no point but buying a brand new phone, which I stupidly did because I just didn't really pay attention, and I was just like, I like this phone, and I'm not regretting it, but there's no point buying a brand new phone because there's going to be another phone that's going to come out the next year that's going to have better hardware on it, making your one obsolete, and your basically as soon as you get your phone, your it's depreciated by like half, basically. Like when the iPhone 12s came out, I think literally a week after they came out, at my work we received one, and I think the first one we received was a 12 Pro Max, and we get phones in second hand from people, and this thing was brand new. It had no scuffs, no nothing. I think I know why, because I've held this thing, and I like how the 11 series feels in my hand, because it's quite a heavy phone. It's quite a heavy phone. It's got nice rounded edges. You hold the 12, it's horrible. It just digs into your hand because it's still got the rounded look, but it's got very sharp. It's got like squared off edges. So they've gone back to like the iPhone 5 series look.
I like that though.
It looks alright, but when you hold it, it feels horrible. If you were to hold that and then hold an 11 afterwards, it feels a lot better.
I've still got the XR. And this is the thing. It's similar.
I've got the XR.
It's similar to cars as well, isn't it? They say like if you buy a new car, like a brand new car off the shelf, it depreciates
as soon as you drive it.
Yeah,
as soon as you drive it out of the dealership, it's depreciated.
Yeah, it's the same with phones. Like me and my girlfriend both got XRs. We got them at the exact same time, and she's looking at getting a 12 the other day, and I remember saying to her like, "What's the point when chances are there's going to be a new one coming out this September?" And she was like, "Yeah, but that's September."
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, but like, I know Apple do this thing where they stop like supporting older generation of phones, but like, I've had my XR for 2 years. It ain't gonna go. Like, I'll probably have it for another year before I pick up a new one. Do you know what I mean? There's no point in grabbing
The thing is as well with these 12. So when we first got this 12 in, it was the 12 Pro Max, and I think it was the highest gigabyte size, the 512. And those phones are worth like 1,400 quid. They're expensive. We paid this poor sod because of depreciation, second-hand depreciation, I think about 750 quid. And this thing was immaculate. It was mint condition.
Jesus.
Because it's just pointless. Because technology, I mean, like, look at my phone. I've got a Galaxy S20 Note 20 5G model. They're worth 1,200 quid.
The name of that
Yeah, it
phone
really
is
is.
a mouthful. Like
It really is a
iPhone
mouthful.
12. There you go. Bang. iPhone 12 Max. Easy.
Yeah, that's the thing with Android phones. But
It's like the difference
this
of
phone-
Sony and
this
Microsoft. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X.
yeah, but this phone is really nice. It is a lovely phone. It's so quick, so fluid. The default gigabyte size here in the UK is 256, so I've got
When you
way
film
more
Snapchat
storage
videos,
than I need.
it looks like you're filming with a baked potato.
Yeah, but that's because Snapchat
Yeah,
was
that's
first.
pretty dead.
Every
that's
time
because
you send me
was first
Snapchat
made for
photos,
iPhone.
but every time you send me Snapchat photos, I genuinely like cringe before I even open it. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, but if we were to take actual photos, my phone would destroy yours.
Yeah, I saw an advert. Yeah, but I don't. If I wanted to take
But
good
you can't
photos,
optimise it on
anyway.
Snapchat then.
if I wanted to
Anyway.
take good photos, bro, I'd get a camera. Like I
Yeah,
saw this
no.
advert the other day for the new Samsung, and Donnie's zooming in with an iPhone, right? And he zooms to this building, and I don't know if you've seen it, and the girl with the Samsung zooms in like 5 times more, and I'm like, why the fuck would you need to do that? Why do you need to get that close to the building?
I think it's more. I think the reason phone companies are doing this is it's to show technological prowess.
Yeah.
So
we're
the fact
superior.
that we're getting camera-like, professional camera-like technology built into phones.
Not even close.
No, but like, okay, professional camera technology 5 years ago. There you go. Like,
yeah,
the fact that we're getting that in something handheld that you can slip into your pocket is a technological marvel.
but it's the same way that like consoles will always be slightly playing catch up to PC, the same way that phones will always be playing catch up to
Oh yeah.
for example, like a Nikon, or like.
But the thing is, the average
Something like
Joe isn't going to go out and buy,
It's the same with consoles.
£1,000 camera and a £5,000 lens.
This is the thing.
Because
Like,
lenses are always more expensive.
people aren't going to go out and buy a £12,000 gaming PC. They'd pick up the Xbox Series X or the PS5. But
Yeah,
back
exactly.
to gaming, I do want. We're past the hour mark now, so it's time to get toward the end of this. But I do have one quick discussion. This could be 20 minutes long. We don't know. I want to hear. I'm going to make it a bit harder. I'm going to go top 3 video games of all time for each one of you. Top 3 is hard. And I don't want to say, you can have a couple honourable mentions. If you do have honourable mentions, start with them. But
I need to write this down.
top 3.
Oh, actually,
Top 3 is
before,
difficult.
what I'm about to say does tie into this list, but Tom and I got the OG Star Wars Battlefront 2s yesterday.
Oof.
I would say that's a top 3 game,
Yeah,
though.
that's... Oh, for me it is, because
Nah,
just
it
the
can't-
nostalgia
no,
value.
no, it's not for me. No.
Oh, for me, I played
mean,
that game to death on my
it's
PS2,
your
and I'm
list.
still playing it now.
It's your list,
But
but that doesn't make my top
we-
3.
We got them yesterday, and this goes to show how amazing modding communities are. So there was this guy that did a sort of reworked graphics version. The graphics are still quite low res, but it's that like with some games they're low res, but they're highly detailed. Like this mod is like that, innit, Tom? Because like if you look at like Clone Troopers armors, you can see like all the battle damage and dents and stuff like that on them.
It's like
even
they've
though they're
even
low res.
changed sort of the textures in a way, because it just looks a lot. It was more
Smooth.
janky, like the actual images. I say images, the character models, which is very not pixelated in a way, but you could tell they're old. So they've updated everything. So like even the new like helmets and body armor looks just a lot crisper, just
Nice.
smoother.
So nice to look at. And
this is gonna be fucking hard.
It is tough. It is tough.
and I was saying to you the other day, Will, about Pandemic's plan for Star Wars Battlefront 3, how they were going to integrate space and land combat.
Yeah, I remember this.
These team of modders got in contact with ex-Pandemic employees about their plans for Battlefront 3, got all that information, and they've modded everything that they had planned for into the OG Star Wars Battlefront 2 on PC. So you can actually download this fucking mod and play what Pandemic's vision was for Battlefront 3, which I think is just fucking amazing. It's like there's this community who mod for Skyrim. Well, there's multiple people who do, obviously, but some team has modded the entirety of the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind that you can play on Skyrim. So you can finish your campaign on Skyrim and just set sail to fucking Morrowind and play the Elder Scrolls 3 essentially, but with updated graphics and animations and stuff like that, like the Skyrim stuff. And then there's another community that has done their an entirely new storyline that's about 40 hours long, with fully voice acted NPCs and everything, their own quest lines, own environments, all of that stuff. And just modding communities are amazing. Like, they don't get enough credit.
No, they are sick. I can still, Tom's focused. Like, you can hear the cogs in his head turning, trying to figure this out.
Now, literally, I'm just typing dates and just find out which ones it is, and oh man, this isn't fair. I wish I had a bit more prep.
Callum, have you got your 3?
I've got 3, but I want to do at least 2 honourable mentions.
Oh,
I
I've
think,
got loads in
yeah,
my
I think
head.
for my 3, it's going to be one from each generation of consoles. I think
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay.
that's
Oh, right.
that's for
Mine
me.
aren't. Mine aren't. Mine are just 3
No.
games that I've loved growing up.
Because the thing is for me, like, on each generation, I've got multiple games that I have fallen in love with and have played countless times and still do sometimes.
I want to just put it out there.
It's very hard for me.
I don't want to hear like a series. So, for example, if I was to say, I'm not going to, but if I was to say FIFA, I want a specific one. If FIFA is your one, I want to be like FIFA 18, like something like that.
Yeah, I see.
I don't want to. I don't want you to be like the Uncharted series, the Spider-Man. Like, fuck off.
No.
The Gears of War series. I want. If it is like Gears of War, I want a specific fucking game.
Yeah.
I think I've got my three,
God, yeah.
but honourable.
I've got my three.
I will start. Honourable mentions for me: Gears of War 3.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Campaign was Gears of War 2 as well, but I think for me 3 kind of embodies the whole series.
And the multiplayer was just down
it went,
to a T, and then 4 ruined it.
It went downhill. It went downhill after 3. The campaign was spotless, flawless. Carmine survived. That's all we need.
Yes.
Carmine survived. The multiplayer was again top notch, unmatched at the time. Probably the best multiplayer game out there because that was around the time COD was sort of going a bit wayward with like Black Ops and all that stuff. Another honourable mention. I think I would probably put it in the honourable mentions list just because for me it doesn't make top 3. God of War for PS4. The only reason I'm not putting it in the top 3 is because one game beats it out. But I think one of the best single player experiences in terms of just storyline. The storyline was absolutely wild.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you played the previous ones as well, didn't you?
I played
so
2
you
and
got
3.
to
I
see
never
the
played
character.
the first one, but
but you still got to see the character development of him.
Yeah.
So he went from who he was before.
Yeah,
to
he went from
being
this
a dad.
absolute crackhead to like it went from like this absolute crack horse of like only cared about himself to having to kind of develop and become someone else and look after someone else, and you could see like the struggle he went through. On to my top 3 now. I don't really have a number 1 because I don't know, it's just really hard. My top 3, if I was to talk about on the spot right now, I would probably say Uncharted 2.
That's a good game.
That is very good.
Just because if I was to give one specific reason, it'd probably be for the opening sequence of that game. But the entire game felt like a fucking film from start to finish. It felt like a AAA action.
But all of them are very cinematic.
Yeah,
but
like the thing about 2 that I have I loved 4. Like obviously 4 being on the PS4 was going to be the most graphically pleasing, but the reason I think 2 is the best one out of the 4 games, and there's 5 if you count the spin-off one. The reason I think 2 is the best is because it felt like a movie when you were playing it. You didn't need cinematics to make it feel like a film. It felt like a film when you were actually moving around and controlling the guy. Like the scene that really got me, I don't know if you remember it, was you're in like this building. I can't remember what country you're in, but you're in this like building climbing up to the roof, and you were chasing someone, and a helicopter, like an Apache, starts shooting the building you're in, and like the floor collapses, and you're with Chloe, and you have to like slide down and jump into the next building, and you're like flying past this chopper just like spinning around, and it felt like an entire like film all in one, and it was absolutely bizarre. And I only got to experience that last year, so
Jesus. Missed
Yeah,
out.
I know. Another one is The Witcher 3. I would put that second.
Yeah, I
Some
can
might
agree
say
on that.
first, but second for me. I've never played a game. I'm not really huge into RPGs. I'm not like against them, but I've never really played them. I'm more of like I'll just play shooters and like shoot 'em ups and sports.
You
games.
haven't really found the one that's dragged you in.
And this was probably the one, because the reason I got it was Callum was like, I was looking through games with gold, and I just got my Xbox One X after Christmas. It was 2017, and I was looking through games with gold. They had an offer on for The Witcher 3, and it was like the Game of the Year edition, so it's the base game, Hearthstone DLC, and the something of Toussaint. Blood and Wine, that's the one, the Toussaint one. Sorry. And I got that, and it took me a long time, about 10 hours of gameplay, and I kept messaging Callum like, when is this going to get good? And eventually, I can't remember the exact moment it clicked, But from that moment, I couldn't put the fucking thing down. I was on it like constantly for like 6 hours a day for about a week. Nothing else. I would play nothing else. I was lying to my. I'd be like, I'm going out with my family. I can't play FIFA tonight, and I'd be sat there appearing offline playing The Witcher because I'm a snake. But that game's just so diverse, and you can have 1,000 different outcomes throughout the story, and the story is always changing. Like if I was to replay it, I'd probably have a different outcome every time because there are so many different directions, and you basically tell your own story in a way. Like you can sort of divert the story the way you want to go. Like I see people on YouTube and they make videos like dedicated to getting a certain outcome, and it's mad that how many of those videos there actually are. They're all different. Like one little decision can change the whole outcome of like what happens to a certain character, and it's really interesting.
Yeah.
And I know Callum feels the same about that Witcher game. That game was a mad. But I think if I was to order them, it would be Uncharted 2 and number 3. Number 2 would be The Witcher 3, Wild Hunt. And number 1, my favourite game of all time, I don't think I'll ever be topped, is, and I don't know if you can class this as an RPG, you kind of can, you kind of can't, Red Dead Redemption 2. Mentioned it earlier.
Yeah, that's a good game.
To me, without the online, I think it's possibly the only game ever made that's flawless. Ever.
Yeah. I thought they have improved on the online, but
I think
when it
by the
first
time they'd
released,
done it, the damage was done. Like,
yeah, definitely.
Thing for Red Dead 2 for me was it's the only game I've ever played where, so like with me and RPGs,
I know what you're gonna say.
Do all the side quests and stuff like that.
The fishing.
But with Red Dead 2, that is the only game where the external stuff that isn't quest related, store related, anything like that. So going out hunting, just exploring the land and going fishing and stuff like that. The fact that it took me how long did it take me? I got it on day one and I didn't finish it until like halfway into last year, I don't think.
Jesus Christ.
Because I just kept on diverting and just going out hunting and fishing and all of this, and then it would get to the point where I completely forgot what I was doing for the storyline, so I had to start again. And I kept on getting to like the start of chapter 2 before I started diverging, because that's when you really could explore everything.
Yeah.
And eventually I just went, right, I've got to sit down and actually play through this thing.
Yeah, so
and
this was...
I'm so glad I did.
That was... Like, a lot of the games I played that are story-driven, I play... So, like, Callum's a big 100%er guy. He likes the 100% games. So, at the moment, I'm playing Fallen Order, and all I care about is the narrative. I don't care about, like, all the collectibles. I just want to experience the story, right?
I only 100% them if it's easy.
Red Dead...
Fallen Order is very easy to 100%.
I 100% is Spider-Man, because I love that game. But that's another honourable mention. But... Red Dead was probably the only game I've ever played in my entire life where I actively didn't want to play the storyline because I wanted to last. I wanted my experience to last longer.
Yeah.
I was going out and hunting for like 3 hours at a time trying to get legendary things, and like I remember one day I robbed the store just to see a different reaction, because like there was a woman running one store and a man running the other, and I got a different reaction from the woman and the man. And like it's so in depth to the point where like you go into a store, for example, like, and you rob a store, and then you'll go in there like the next time you go in, say you beat the guy up, the guy will be wearing like bandages because you beat him up the last time, and like it's so like your boots get like torn. If you wear leather boots, your boots tear over time, and you can see them wear. The fact that your man Arthur grows hair and beard, and you have to shave it yourself. And like,
that was quite
as
cool.
he gets sick toward the end of the game, you can see him just like, he gets skinnier and he deteriorates, and you move differently. And the way he climbs on the horse is different, and the way he lifts his gun up is slightly slower toward the end of the game than it is at the start because he's sick.
It's so subtle, but when it clicks, you're just there like, fuck.
Yeah, like when you really see it, like the thing that the biggest gobsmack moment in that game for me, you know, he gets tuberculosis and he comes like sick toward the end of the game. There's a bit where like he goes to like you have to like play and shoot, and I've visibly noticed how long it took compared to the start of the game to lift my rifle up. Like it wasn't a huge difference, like Alan said, very subtle. But once you notice it once, it's one of the things where you're like, holy shit, like that's so in depth, and the level of side quest depth. Like if you put the side quests together, it could honestly be like another AAA game. I was replaying on the PS4 because my sister's boyfriend has it, and I played it originally on my Xbox One X, and I was replaying on the PS4, and I didn't realise that I missed an entire thing, like an entire separate storyline when I played through the first time about Arthur's wife or ex-wife, and I never got to finish.
That?
Huh?
You never did that?
No, I never got to finish it because it was one of them things where I was like, I'll go back to it later. I'll go back to it next time I play, and I didn't play for like a week because of exams and stuff. And then the next time I went on, I just went to the next mission and forgot about it. But like, it's one of them things where unless you play it and you actively keep note of everything you've done, you will miss something. You can't do everything the first time around. It's almost impossible.
Oh, it's so good. They really knocked out the park. I mean, I feel sorry for the employees at Rockstar for really having to
Crunch down.
and do fucking God knows how many hours of work.
It was
each
worth
week,
it though.
but
That game was
they
masterpiece.
probably got the fattest bonus for doing that.
I do think that, like I said, if the multiplayer wasn't the shambles it was on launch, then I think that would probably be the only flawless video game ever made.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, Red Dead
definitely
1's
close.
multiplayer was well, you and I had
That was
some
sick.
amazing
Red
experiences.
Red
on
Dead
that
2 one, it was sick as well. But I still had fun with it when it came out, but it was just bare bones.
Yeah,
But like the reason the Red Dead one was so good, there was no money. It's the same way like the GTA 4 multiplayer, I think, is better than GTA 5 because there's no cash. You just go around and fuck about and have a good laugh.
yeah, you unlock guns via level.
Yeah, and
don't
the
you?
same with the original Red Dead, like Red Dead Redemption 1, the first one. You didn't have to pay for anything; you just unlocked it by getting like higher rank and grinding. But now if you've got money, you pay for shit, and it's just it's shite. And you can pay to win with all the microtransactions and bollocks. And it's just
Yeah.
not fun anymore.
Pay to win's a curse, man.
But at the moment, they're my three.
Right, what is yours, Callum?
Tom's still not got his.
well, me doing
No, I've got them, but mine's probably going to be the most different than yours too, I think.
me doing it by generation is actually like the order as well.
Okay.
So it's quite handy. So for me, Star Wars Battlefront 2, the OG one, 2005.
Yeah.
Because I did have some amazing games on my PS2 that really stick to my mind. But this has always been a game that I can go back to and still have fun with years down the line.
Mm.
And like, for example, whenever Tom's come down, we might set up my PS2 to play it together. Like, and we
Tried to once.
We tried to once, but we won't go into detail about what
Oh, I remember.
Killed you.
happened.
I said I killed you. I didn't kill you. It was someone else that killed you.
Yeah. But like, I can always go back to that game and just have the fattest. Like yesterday, when me and Tom were trying to play it, I had just the fattest grin on my face. Like,
It is a great game.
I was getting so frustrated with it.
That's like me
Yeah.
and Crash Bandicoot. I love playing that game.
That's a good game.
My number 2 is Halo Reach. I was going to say BioShock, but the ending of BioShock kills it because you get to the big twist with Andrew Ryan, where it turns out it's the whole would you kindly thing,
Yeah.
where it turns out you've been mind controlled by Atlas, and then you kill Ryan because he forces you to, and he's actually your father as well, which is even more of a mind fuck.
Noob.
But then you have the whole thing where you face Atlas, and that thing's just fucking dog shit. So and Halo Reach I've got far more fond memories with because Halo 3 was amazing. Me and Will played that to death.
Oh.
But Reach
Sorry, I'm
really
just
was
dreaming of
Bungie's
Halo
swan
Reach,
song.
Oh.
Halo Reach was so good.
I
and the
can't
multiplayer
tell
was
you
amazing.
how many hours me and Callum dug into Halo Reach. It was
ridiculous.
unhealthy every day. Just minimum of like 2.5 hours every day. Just everything.
This
non-stop.
was back when we were at school, so it had to be
Yeah,
about
this
2.5
was
hours.
like
Now we're
two-
adults, it can be more, but
This was like year 6 going into year 7, and we like that summer. Wow,
so good.
Jesus
That game
Christ!
was, and just the story, everything. Oh, it was beautiful.
It was the characters as well. I'd never been so. That was the first time I played a game where I was like so emotionally attached to like almost every character. I'm pretty sure I felt sad when people died, and I was like, man, now I don't want to play this anymore, and I was angry.
Yeah, I'm playing through the campaigns in story order at the moment because I've downloaded it on the laptop.
I was talking to him the other
and
day.
I've just
Tom.
gotten to the bit where Cat dies.
I was talking to him the other day, and he was like, You could hear a change in his voice. I'm like, what? He went, I'm at George's death scene. And I knew what? He went, yeah, I'm at George's death scene. And I was like, oh, okay. And he went, for fuck's sake. You could genuinely hear the tone of his fucking emotion. He's like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh, mate, I don't want to think what it'd be like when I play Gears 3 with Dom.
Oh, it's another one. That was another one.
That
Maria!
fucking wrenches your heart,
Bang.
man. When he's driving and he's talking to Maria up in heaven, he's just like, "This is it, huh?"
Oh,
and then he
that's
just
sad.
fucking crashes into that.
Oh, I just
fuel
got
tanker
goosebumps.
and-
Oh,
yeah, so did I. I just got it as well. Oh, wait, can you get all the Gears games on Game Pass? All 3?
yes.
Oh my god, if it's cross-compatible, I'm downloading it.
They're all
I'll happily delete Halo to play through the Gears campaigns again.
Should we all do it later? Should we just download Gears of War?
Yeah, mate.
I'll do it.
Yeah, boy.
Only if you can play the fucking campaign, because we downloaded Halo.
Yeah,
and
we
couldn't
need to
play the
Google it.
campaign, and I was fuming.
Well, me and Tom can.
Yeah, that was fucking stupid.
Well,
though.
me
Yeah,
and
but
someone
crossplay,
like
that's
Jake
just
can.
not
I don't
fair.
fuck. No offense, Jake.
That ain't the point.
I want to play cosplay.
But anyway,
Number 1.
my number 1. And I know you said no series,
Oh no.
but I'm cheating and I'm saying the entirety of the Witcher series. The
Oh, well,
only reason
pick one.
being,
Pick one.
3 is the main game, obviously.
Yes.
But the reason I want to say the whole series is because to fully understand everything that's going on in Witcher 3,
I watched a YouTube video.
really, yeah, but you really have to play the first
Yeah,
two.
I watched a recap. It's like an hour long,
And-
but it's worth it.
Oh, mate, just if you play, because I got The Witcher 3 on PC when I was at uni, and I got it in a bundle with the other 2 games because it was like really fucking cheap to do.
Yeah.
So I was just like, fuck it, get all 3. And I was just like, right, I'm gonna play these in order, and I'm so happy I did because you just get to grips with everything that happens in each game. And because I was at uni and I didn't bother doing my course, I was able to do it. So
That's fair.
I just spent days just playing through every single one because I originally had The Witcher 2 on 360. Well, my dad had it on 360, and I never completed it because I never really understood what was going on. And when I don't unless the game sets out to make you not understand what's happening,
Oh yeah, it's hard to invest
I
if you're
get
kind
bored.
of if you're lost. It's hard to invest in it.
yeah. So by buying the full trilogy, I was able to understand everything, all the references back to Yennefer and stuff like that. Because when you play the first 2 games, they always refer to Yennefer, and you're like, "Who the fuck's Yennefer?" And then you play Witcher 3, and you're like, "Ah, that's Yennefer." And I've got all the fucking books as well,
She's fit.
so there's even more detail.
Mm,
Mate, I
yes,
love the
true.
Witcher series; it's so good.
Yeah, we know why you love them witches.
No shit.
And yeah, it's a masterpiece of a series, and it's such a shame that CG Projekt Red did what they did with fucking Cyberpunk.
I think
Speaking of Cyberpunk,
I think they'll fix it eventually.
did you watch the fucking apology video?
Yeah, that was weird.
Oh, it's bullshit because this
It's
guy
weird.
who does he's really good at interviewing like gaming employees and stuff, but he managed to interview CD Projekt Red employees about the game, and they were saying like, we kept on telling management the game is not ready, and they still pushed them out to do it because, and the fact that they announced it back in 2013 with that trailer of the woman with the mantis blades.
That was
and
sick.
it's all slow mo. It's a very cool trailer. And you'd have thought, oh cool, they're gonna start development on this. They didn't actually start development until 2016,
Yeah, it was stupid. Fucked it.
Oh,
and they were supposed to have flying cars, a proper police sequence.
Fucked it.
Oh god, and a
Disastrous.
couple of other things. And,
Disastrous.
yeah, it was all cut from the game. Oh, wall jumping as well with the mantis blades. They were supposed to have.
Disastrous.
So you could jump onto a wall, stick the blade in the wall, hang from the wall, and then like pounce off of it. Got rid of that. They got rid of all sorts of shit.
Before we get onto Tom's top
because
3, I've
they
got a funny
started
story
it.
about Cyberpunk. My girlfriend the other day was like, I don't know what to get you for Valentine's Day. And she went, do you have Cyberpunk? And I said, no, and I don't fucking want it either. Not to be ungrateful, but I don't want to play that game until it's fixed. Because I don't want it to ruin my
Yeah.
fucking experience. If that takes 3 years, that takes
Good.
3 years. If you
it'll take a while.
you
I
know they've
reckon.
removed off the PlayStation Store. If you go on the Xbox Store yet, you know they have like biography for games, like a little intro.
Yeah.
Mm.
The Witcher, Cyberpunk's intro is, you may experience bugs and which may hinder your gaming experience when playing this game until it's updated in the future. That's genuinely the introduction for the game. Yes, I'll send a photo over to you.
I think Microsoft put that on there.
Yeah, they have. It's out. It's not. No, it wasn't CD Projekt Red. Microsoft. It did have one, and Microsoft removed it when PlayStation did their thing about taking off the store entirely. Microsoft put their own little disclaimer, and they took away the biography of the game and said, "You're going to experience some bugs. It's going to fuck it up."
Yeah.
Alright, let's go into Tom's 3 because I'm kind of intrigued since he said they're going to be different. If Terraria is in this game, I'm going to punch you in the teeth.
No, it's not on here. But I have... Okay, I've got 7 honourable
What the
mentions.
If
fuck?
RuneScape
Yeah.
is not your
gonna
number
be,
one,
that's going to be top 3, isn't it? You know it is. Fuck's sake.
Just wait,
Fuck's
just wait,
sake.
just wait.
I hate that game.
Hey,
It's a penguin
that's
in
my
the number
baby.
2.
Don't fuck me up. No, shush.
penguin.
Alright, my honourable mentions, alright. We've got Halo 3,
Thank fuck.
Oh,
because
yes.
that was a banging
Well, that
game. Like,
needs
the
no-
multiplayer
that needs no
campaign was
description,
something
does it?
else. Even now, probably the graphics could hold up.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
even if it wasn't remastered, because it was just way ahead of its time. We've got Left 4 Dead 2 on there, which
Oh.
is another
oh,
fantastic
I forgot about
game.
Left 4 Dead.
Do you know
Fantastic
the amount of
game.
times we would have sat around Callum's?
That's all we'd play.
So us
That's
three
literally
and
all we'd
Callum's
play.
little sister just playing Left 4 Dead for like fucking 4 hours
Yeah.
at a time.
Yep.
Classic game that they need to do another
Yeah.
one, but they have got the original developers for the first game doing a new one. I think I can't remember the name.
Great game.
But then I've got Ocarina of Time,
Oh,
Legend of Zelda,
Stuff.
because
It's
that
alright, yeah.
was a fucking amazing game, way ahead of its time because it came out in like '97, I think, and it was just ridiculous. Something that normally flies under the radar for honourable mentions, but the Walking Dead Telltale series.
Oh my god!
Oh yeah.
That
only
is
Season
impressive.
1. Only season 1. The rest of them are good, but season 1, I played.
Season 1 was the
I
most
played
powerful.
the entirety of season 1. I actually cried. Like,
No,
genuinely
the
cried.
ending sort of
Oh,
that got me. The ending.
did you ever play their Wolf Among Us one? That one was really good.
No, but
I've seen playthroughs of it, and that was
I
very
didn't play.
good.
I didn't
still
play
think
it
the Walking
after
Dead
season
one
1.
sticks
I
out.
didn't play anymore because it was too upsetting. And I love.
No,
the TV
it's
series.
really good. I've played through most of them,
I love the
and it
series.
does obviously get a lot more. Yeah, because you stick with Clementine after the
Yeah.
first season, I think,
Yeah.
and yeah, that flies under the radar quite a lot, I think. And then another one, which was I think just on the PlayStation 3, but Pain. Don't know if you've ever heard of
I've
it,
heard
but
of
it's
it, I've never
basically
played it.
it's a very weird game. It's like you just shoot
Oh, wait,
yourself
hold on a
out of
minute.
a
Is this the thing where
slingshot.
it's like, I swear the A on the cover is a bandage or like a plaster or something. Or the
Yeah,
I.
that's
yeah,
it.
I've
That's
played
the
that.
one.
That's a madness. That's such a weird game.
It's a crazy game though, because literally it's like you're in different settings. You could be in like a circus, you could be in like a high
the
street,
way
and you're
when I
literally
played that, it felt like
firing
it
yourself
felt like
out of a
Skate
slingshot.
3, but like
But just hung Hall of
just
Meat
Hall of Meat.
the
That
whole
was
time.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's literally it. That is literally the game. It was fucking incredible, and I spent so much time on that for some reason. Don't know why. But then we've got Super Mario 64, which
Oh, on the
personally on the Nintendo
first-
64,
the 3D
I
one, yeah.
think is probably one of the most important games ever
oh yeah,
made.
it's good.
Because
Keep
it was
going,
the
lads.
first one
I'm
to
just
have
popping to
a-
the little boys' room. Keep going.
Okay. Because it was one of the first video games to actually have a free roaming camera and be in 3 dimensions.
Callum's game. Sorry.
Absolute
Now he's
nonce.
called me up to say that. Alright, carry on.
Yes, yeah, but that was one of the first video games to actually have its own independent camera. Actually following the
Yeah, that was
character,
such a
being
sick
in
game as
3D.
well.
Yeah, and it was just there was so much to it though. I understand it's got different levels, and then you've got to pass a boss level to go into a
I
next
remember
area.
playing it and jumping through
But
the
it has-
mirrors, and I was like, "Whoa,
That's probably one of the coolest things. Like even
I
now,
was
like
like,
doing that is so cool.
whoa, this is awesome."
And honestly, the soundtrack in some of those levels is some of the best in any. Yeah, it's all iconic. Like most of the tracks have been, they're in memes, they're in fucking TikToks and all that sort of shit. So they're ingrained in sort of, video game history for forever now because they're, that sort of iconic game, which is quite impressive. But then my last one for honourable mentions for me was the first game I ever had on the GameCube,
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
know if Will knows what it
I know
is.
what's coming.
and it is
Yeah,
Luigi's Mansion.
baby.
Yeah,
Fucking love that
the
game.
first one I've ever had,
love that
and
game.
honestly, it sticks with me to
I
this
love that
day.
game.
I'll stand by this game till I die about being one of the best Nintendo games ever
I think
made.
it still had one of the best cover arts.
What
It did.
Tom's last
Luigi's
honourable mention was
Mansion.
obviously going to be Luigi's Mansion.
Luaja!
Had one,
On
had
the
one
old
of the,
Nintendo.
had one of the best cover arts ever. Because it was just so basic.
Him looking
but he
shit
was
scared,
like,
surrounded by ghosts.
And it was so basic, but it was so iconic.
It's such a good game though, because the coding that went into that, when you're actually sucking up the Hoover or blowing out, it actually reads like a different measurement of particles it's actually intaking in.
Oh, mad.
So it's actually got a dust physics inside the
Pretty
game,
sick.
which I thought was incredible for a 2001 game, which is something else. But now,
Final three.
we go to the top three.
Podium finish.
Tom's top three.
I know what number one is.
I think everyone does, who knows me. But number three, for me, would have to be God of War.
Yeah.
2018
Yeah.
one. But just for the immersion that the game provided, you know, the sort of the fluid, how fluid the combat was, you know, the progression, the different.
The one thing about that game, you were just talking about Mario on the N64 having the camera that follows you. The one thing about that game that amazes me that
one
I have
continuous
not
camera
seen
shot,
this
wasn't
in
it?
anything else in my life, any form of medium other than Dunkirk.
Yeah.
No, was it Dunkirk? It was Dunkirk. What film was
Wait,
it?
what? What are you on about?
Might have been
1917.
Yeah, it was
1917, that was the
1917,
one.
where it's all one take.
Yeah, that's the same
Yeah.
as God
Yeah.
of War. The camera never leaves the character, never leaves Kratos and his son.
That creates a
And
different level of immersion.
1917 is the exact same, and that's one of the best films I've ever seen.
If you've not
Such
watched
a good
1917, go fucking watch
It's
it. It's awesome.
Really good film. Very good film, but I think that just creates a different level of
Yeah, it does.
immersion when you have it in
You
one
can't
continuous
escape
shot.
from the
It's just so
character, can you?
good.
I don't want
Well,
to
literally, because you're always involved in it, so you're not actually missing anything. Because, you know, if you cut to different scenes, you've missed out a big block
Yeah,
of
exactly.
what the story and the characters have experienced. But in that, you sort of, you're in it all the time with them.
So good.
Right, number two.
Number two is Breath of the Wild.
Oh, on the
Because that game is just the art style, the soundtracks, sort of the combat, the way the story goes, and how you can literally finish the game as soon as you start if you really want to.
Oh, yeah.
You can do the final boss straight away, which is just, don't know how people do it, absolute maniacs. And it's just, yeah, sort of, you know, the sort of the cooking they've got involved in it, the hunting, the sort of resource gathering, the different types of bosses they have in it.
They've got another
And
one
just sort
coming
of
out,
didn't-
don't they?
Yeah, they've only got like a sort of a cinematic trailer at the minute, and they haven't announced anything else, and that was probably a year ago now, so we're probably bound to hear something soon about it, because the first one was amazing, and if it's going to be anything like the first one, then this could be probably replace the number one spot, which I'm about to get on to now.
What could it be?
If anyone
Killer
knows
Penguin.
me, this game...
Yes.
No. But if anyone knows me, they know I'm a big fan of this game. They know that it's, you know, I've been playing it for a very long time, and I'm, you know, still not max level, which I'm quite fucked off about. But I don't want to put in that much time.
How the fuck are you not max level yet?
played it for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
Well, you
like
used to
two
come
different
in,
accounts.
You used to come in like year 4.
No, let me fucking explain this shit.
You
Let me
used to come
explain
in
this
in, like,
shit.
year
Base,
4.
shut up. Let me finish. The way that it works now, because it used to be 2007. Let me say that again. It's RuneScape, all right? But basically, they did it so the game evolved so much that they changed the graphics, they changed the combat, they changed the skilling systems, they changed everything else. Then the original RuneScape became RuneScape 3. So it became its new game entirely.
Right.
So it wasn't the original ones. You still had your main account for that. But I think around in 2017, 16 possibly, was when they released old school RuneScape, which is the one that we remember, you know, all the you know, the music and the goblin killings and all that
yeah,
sort of
the
stuff, which we remember. So they brought back all the nostalgia, all the stuff. Well, not remastered it, because there's nothing different about it. It looks the exact same, plays the same, it's got the same skills, but they update it like a new game now. So it's got its own team of devs, and they put in new content, they put in new quests and all that, but it's still in the old school RuneScape sort of universe, which is, you know, something that I've always loved. And I was so pissed off when they changed it to RS3, because it was just, I've got a very high level account on that, well, on both of them,
Shocking.
but yeah. But it's yeah, they add in different sort of modes as well. So you get like Iron Man, you can't access any shops or trade with the different players. So you've got to earn everything yourself. You've got to chop the wood yourself. You've got to fish. You've got to resource gather for all the quests, which honestly is probably the most fun I've actually had playing a game, because it causes you to do the research and to do like the most efficient routes to it. So while you're doing one quest, you're obtaining items that you might need for another quest. So you have to sort of plan ahead while you're doing things as well.
Okay.
So because it will save you a lot of time in the long run. But yeah, that's my number one game. That's the game. Okay, not my mind. Do you want to hear how disgusting my playtime is on it?
Please, let's end on this.
I'm gonna log in on it. Okay,
Alright.
1 second.
Let's end on.
Oh, I just realised I didn't do any.
Talk amongst yourselves.
I realised I didn't do any honourable mentions.
I'm gonna do one for you. Lord of the Rings Conquest.
Oh, fuck's sake! Yeah,
Oh, I forgot about that.
that's a good game.
That's one. That's count only on.
They need to
That's a
remaster
sick
that
game.
one.
Yeah. Right, I'm gonna do my honourable mentions whilst Tom logs into his thing. They're all different, like game genres as well.
Okay.
Resident Evil 4,
All very good.
which in
That
my
was fun.
opinion
That's
is the
good.
best Resident Evil out there. Speaking of
Seven's pretty fucking good though.
Yeah.
Well, count's too
I
much
need
of a
to finish
pussy to
playing
play
it.
it.
Fuck off. Alien Isolation. Even though I've not finished it, it was still amazing.
I wouldn't say that's honourable, but it is a good
Game.
horror game.
Yeah, but I'm such a huge fan of the Alien series, and finally seeing a good Alien game it was great.
Do you remember the one I had on Xbox?
Um,
That was shit.
What?
Alien vs
Don't
Predator.
say AV. No!
Shit.
Oh, come on.
That
we played
that
to
was
death.
good. That was
Nah.
good.
We played that
I
to
like
death,
that
Will.
game.
Yeah, but
Come
looking
on.
back on it now, it's trash.
Nah. Right, what else?
Oh, where's
Lego
this cunt
Star
that I
Wars
speak
Oh.
Saga.
Ah,
complete
Complete
saga.
Saga.
Yep.
Um,
I still like the first one they did because that was okay. Right, I've got it.
Kind of one more honorable mention, quick.
wait. Let me finish my honourable mentions quick. Oh fuck. Brain freeze. Brain fart. Whatever. Fuck. Oh
Okay.
no, I had it. Gears 2,
Yeah.
and I had one more which I've completely forgotten. Skyrim,
Fair
because
enough.
I've had that on the 360, PC, and on PS4.
Okay, we're gonna finish this up now with a bombshell of how many hours? Is it hours, Tom? What days?
Days.
Okay. We're gonna finish this off with a bombshell of how many days of Tom's life he's put into playing RuneScape. Is this across all the RuneScapes? Yeah.
No, the time spent is on this specific old school one, so the new version, but it is the same account that I used way back when. So when it says, it will say I'll go with how long ago I made my account. So it says, you've spent days in the world since you arrived. Okay, and you ready for this?
Please.
My account is 4,809 days old.
How much?
And if you want to know how long that is 13 years.
Jesus.
That's how long ago I made my first account. And are you ready?
Days. Yeah.
Since I first made my first RuneScape account. But the time spent on this account,
He's really
65 days, 9 hours and 38 minutes.
Jesus.
Hold on. 65
Yeah, I
days.
want to convert this into hours.
9 hours and 13 minutes.
38
38
minutes.
minutes. Okay.
65 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, 65 days is 1,560 hours.
1,569 hours.
Jesus,
Oh
boy.
my goodness.
Hey. No one can say I'm not loyal.
That is. That is outrageous. That is outrageous. That is. How old are you? 22.
Yeah.
That's. Wait, hold on. Say that one more time. Say that one more time.
What?
1,500.
69 hours.
Okay, 69 hours.
Hey, you got the 69 in there, though.
3.
Hey.
Okay, 1,569 days. Hours.
Mm.
Okay. Let me,
1,500.
Bearing in mind that's time logged in, so the amount of times I've just sat in the bank and just not done anything, and that
so
counts.
1,569 hours is 2 entire months of your life.
Worth every second.
2 entire months of your life has been spent kicking RuneScape.
And I'm still not max
How many
level.
days did you say? 4,000.
809 days
To be
since I
fair-
created it, which is 13.17534.
That is, yeah, 13.175. That's 13.
To be fair,
wow.
I've probably spent about 600 hours in Skyrim because of the
There's still
amount I
900
played
hours
it
off
in-
Tom.
No, but still, that's a long time. That's still a
Oh,
long time.
shit.
And Will, the amount of time we played Halo,
Yeah, I know.
Like-
It wasn't anywhere near that, but yeah. It was a
no,
long time.
but
Gotta pump those numbers.
Right.
Those are
I
rookie
think
numbers.
after an hour, after nearly 2 hours, I think that's a great way to end the session, knowing that Tom, in fact,
Yeah.
has no life.
Has no life.
Uh,
And somehow is not actually a virgin, which, you know, quite some
losing his
amazing
virginity
thing.
over RuneScape doesn't count.
It's gonna fucking grow back though. Like, trust me.
Christ.
Jesus.
Right, we're going to end it there, guys. Thank you for listening. As always, we will be back next Thursday with another episode. Who knows what we're going to talk about? We have got some things in planning, but we don't know what.
We
Or
don't
when.
know
Yes,
when
just
we're
trying
going
to
to
figure
do
out
it.
which
Yeah,
are the
'cause
best ones
we have
to
episodes
do.
that are really good, but we have to plan them. We were going to do it this weekend, but we didn't really have the time to plan it. We actually
We didn't
yeah,
plan.
We, need to plan.
Yeah.
So, we will see you guys next week. Thank you for listening. Take care. Have a nice.
Cheers, guys. We love you.
Adios.
Mwah. Bye bye.
Fucking gay.